protists. Okay. And so although, let's see, let me get that right. So although there are two types, all cells have the following: a cell membrane, so something on the outside, a cytoplasm, that is the space in between all of these organelles, ribosomes, which are, you can see here, located on the back of this little structure here, and those are what aid in the process of protein synthesis. So when we're making proteins, and if you remember from Unit 1, we make proteins by linking amino acids together with peptide bonds. So ribosomes play a big role in that. And then all cells have genetic material, which is DNA or RNA. And remember that those are the DNA and RNA are examples of polymers of nucleic acids, or polymers of nucleotide. Yeah, nucleic acids. And nucleic acids are made up of nucleotides. Okay, so more on that word I just said, organelles. So all cells have these four structures, but eukaryotic cells also have membrane-bound organelles. So what's an organelle? Well, these are specialized structures within the cell that work together to help the cell function. So think of them as mini organs within the cell working together for one main purpose: to make proteins. Hashtag proteins matter, people. Okay, they have tons of functions. They do a lot. And yeah, so hashtag proteins matter. Tweet it, tag me, and get it trending. Okay, and so this is just an example of what an animal cell looks like, and it's a blown up version of all the organelles. So here we have the nucleus and some genetic information floating around. We have some ribosomes on the outside of this membrane that you will learn. It's called the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So the ribosomes are located on the outside here. Some mitochondria, and then over here we have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and then a cell membrane on the outside. Okay, and this is just an example of a plant cell and its organelles, so they are very similar. So you can see some mitochondria in here, and then you also see something that I'm sure, a word that you've all heard before, chloroplasts. So all plants have chloroplasts, and this helps them perform photosynthesis. They have a nucleus over here, some more ribosomes on the rough ER, and then a plasma membrane. Okay, so what is this plasma membrane that I've been mentioning? I mentioned it in Unit 1 when we were talking about phospholipids, and I'm mentioning it right now. So a cell membrane, also called a plasma membrane, surrounds the outside of all cells. And they are made up of two layers known as the phospholipid bilayer. So again, break up all these words into their smaller, word parts. So phospholipid. So what do we know about lipids? Remember from Unit 1, lipids are nonpolar. They're fat, so they do not mix with water. And then phospho, so that actually stands for, or it's referring to phosphate, which is a molecule that uses the element phosphorus. And then I'll just go ahead and tell you, phosphate, the phosphate group is a charged particle, which means it has the properties of a polar molecule. And so when you combine this phosphate, this polar phosphate, with this nonpolar lipid, that's going to be a big thing that we're going to be talking about as to why cell membranes are so important and why phospholipids are the ones that kind of beat out everything else to be the best participant of the best, just about the best type of cell, the best type of structure for the job of the cell membrane. Okay, and then it's a bilayer. So bicycle, that means two wheels. So that means that there's two layers of them, two layers of phospholipids, two layers of both polar and nonpolar molecules. And so the job of the cell membrane is to control what goes in and out of the cell. So here is the membrane for all animal cells, the membrane for plant cells, and then the membrane for prokaryotic cells. And then really quickly, I'm just gonna go jump over to my other favorite YouTube spot. And this is Hank Green from Crash Course Chemistry, and he's gonna talk to us a little bit about plasma membranes and what the role of a cell membrane is. And he compares it to like being in a line at a club. So here we go.
Go, 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 go.
Hey, I didn't see you up there. How long have you been waiting in this line? I've been here for like 15 minutes and it's freaking freezing out here. I mean, whose banana you gotta peel to get into this club? Well, while we're here, I guess this might not be a bad time to continue our discussion about cells, because cells, like nightclubs, have to be selectively permeable. They can only work if they let in the stuff that they need, and they, kick out the stuff that they don't need, like trash and ridiculously drunk people and Justin Bieber fans. So no matter what stuff it is, it has to pass through the cell's membrane. Some things can pass really easily into cells and without a lot of help, like water or oxygen. But a lot of other things that they need, like sugar or other nutrients or signaling molecules or steroids, well, they can't get in, or it will take a really long time for them to do it. Yeah, I can relate.
Okay, so I just thought that that was a little fun way of showing you what the job of a cell membrane is. So really think about the cell membrane as a bouncer at a club, the person that's deciding who to let in, who to send out, and when it's time to kick somebody out. Okay. So a little bit more on this phospholipid bilayer. Bilayer is made up of two layers of fats. So fats are phospholipids. Phospholipids are considered fats. And there are little proteins that are embedded in the layer. So these little blue structures here. Here's like a globular protein. Here's a protein channel. All kinds of types of proteins. And proteins, when they're in the cell membrane, can have a variety of jobs. But this one, for example, over here is a transport protein. So that specific protein will allow a specific type of molecule to diffuse through that channel. And it will be a type of molecule that can't just freely diffuse itself through here. And don't worry, we'll go into depth on that in concept 2, but this is just a little introduction. Okay, and this model right here of the phospholipid bilayer of a cell membrane is also called the fluid mosaic model because it is composed of many parts that move around freely. So there's all these different parts that make up the membrane, including the phospholipids themselves, the globular proteins, the protein channels, and then stuff like this alpha helix protein right here. And yeah, so there's just all of it's moving around together freely.